This is Against the Norm with Nick Craig.
This is Against the Norm. My name is Nick Craig. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy New Year's. You can visit our website, atnshow.com, where you can download the podcast each and every week. You can also get the video version of the show there as well. That's atnshow.com. Well, a lot has happened, I guess is an understatement to say, in the past week, or past couple days since we took a couple weeks off for Christmas and the New Year. We're back, and obviously there's a lot going on here, and there will be a lot going on over the next couple of weeks and couple of months. So we'll get into all of that here over the next hour or so on Against the Norm. Again, I want to tell you, go to our website, atnshow.com. We'll talk about why that's so important a little bit later on in the program. Let's discuss January 6th. There's a lot on my mind. There's a lot on a lot of other people's minds. I'll be upfront with you right now. I'm still in the process of making up my mind is not the right word, but I'm still in the process of collecting my thoughts. I'm still in the process of trying to piece together in my head how all this is going to work out, how all this is going to play out. But before we can talk about January 6th, we need to go back to the 5th, the day before, Tuesday. In Georgia, special election, 2 statewide Senate races. 2 Republicans versus 2 Democrats. The Republicans lost both those races. I don't want to hear anything about Dominion or votes. The Republicans lost those races. Why? Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, those 2 Republican candidates sucked. They were terrible Republican candidates. Fine. Why else did we lose those races? There's a lot of really pissed off people right now, especially in the state of Georgia. You know, here in North Carolina, we did what we needed to do for the state. Now, I know we reelected Roy Cooper. I'm not going to comment on that. We elected Donald Trump. We elected Mark Robinson. We elected Republicans to the Supreme Court. We elected Republicans to the House and to the General Assembly, the state legislature. We reelected Republicans like Tom Tillis. Whip-de-doo. We did our job here in North Carolina. So we don't really feel what the people down in Georgia felt. And I had a couple of friends that were working down in Georgia for the last 2 months, and I had some conversations with them. And people in Georgia, Republicans, specifically Trump Republicans, were really upset. They were upset at Brian Kemp. They were upset at the GOP, the Georgia Republican Party. Because there is lots still to this day, lots of questions as to what went on in Georgia back in November. And citizens of Georgia and some lawmakers, not the governor, not the Secretary of State, are just simply requesting an audit. They're simply just requesting there to be some sort of let's look and see. Let's make sure everything's above board here. And Republicans across that state and us as citizens across the nation were not given that right. So you have a lot of people in Georgia that were really, really pissed off at the Republicans, and rightfully so, because they did the right thing in Georgia. They did. They elected Brian Kemp over Stacey Abrams 2 years ago. They put what at the time we believed to be a strong Republican in charge of that state. Turns out Brian Kemp is a fraud. He's not a Republican. He's not a conservative. He's been bought and paid for by somebody. And sure as hell isn't the Republicans. Because he's done everything in his power throughout the process to both attack the president and attack Republican lawmakers in his own state that are just simply looking for answers to some questions about some discrepancies in voting machines and voting systems and tabulation of votes. And he's done everything in his process to make sure that that doesn't happen. So over the last 2 months, You had this going on in Georgia, and then you hand pissed off Georgia Republicans. You ask them, hey, now go out and vote for the Republicans again. And a lot of people, you saw it on social media, said, to hell with this. What's the point of electing Republicans? They're no better than the Democrats. In some cases, they're worse. We listened to an audio soundbite a couple of weeks ago of a guy saying it's better to know the enemy in front of you than to have the friend behind you stabbing you in the back. And that's exactly how a lot of people feel right now, myself included. For the next 4 years, we'll be attacking Joe Biden. We'll know who the enemy is. He's right in front of us. We know who he is. We can look at him and say, hey, this is the enemy. We can see him. Let's do what we need to do to make sure he's not successful. Let's do what we need to do to make sure he's out of office in as short a term as possible. That's what we'll do. The enemy's in front of us. We have a game plan. We have a goal. How do you make a game plan for Republicans that are standing behind you, stabbing a dagger into your back? How do you make a game plan for that? You don't see them. You just elected them, and now they're standing behind you, stabbing you. The GOP has got an absolute unmitigated disaster on their hands, and rightfully so. They deserve it. We really found out over the past couple of days, and I've been saying this, I've said this a million times, so I'm sorry for beating the dead horse here, but we found out yet again that Donald Trump was on his own. Yet again. It's him and 75 million American people. That's it. He's got no other friends. We saw a whole bunch of people dropping off of his cabinet this week. Republican senators saying Mike Pence needs to invoke the 25th Amendment. Trump's been fighting these people the entire time. So while a lot of people are going to sit here and be critical of Trump, oh, he didn't do what he needed to do in 4 years. Did you really think that one man, well, none of us knew this, and if you say you did know this, you're a liar. You're a fraud and a liar. We didn't know. Trump didn't know what he was getting into. None of us thought it was this bad. We really didn't. And again, if you say you do, you're full of crap. You don't. You didn't. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback so you can sound intelligent. You're a fraud. We didn't know. Trump didn't know. We didn't know what was going on in Washington, D.C. We thought Trump had support from people within his own party. This past week showed unequivocally, without a doubt, that's not true. These people hate him. I'd make the argument some Republicans hate him more than the Democrats do. They've done everything in their power to make sure that Trump lost, loses, and continues to lose. They've done everything in their power. So here we are, 10 days before the inauguration. There's no savior. There's no white horse that's gonna run in here. For all the trust the plan and all this, you were lied to. You were a useful idiot. I'm sorry. I hate to say that, but you were a useful idiot. None of that was ever true. There was no plan. There was no trusting the plan. There was nothing about having faith. There was no sealed indictments. There was no mass arrests. None of it. It was all a lie. By who? We don't know. But a good majority of our side, the conservatives and the Republicans, fell right into the trap. And we sat on our hands throughout the entire election, freaking out about QAnon and cuties and canceling Netflix when the Democrats were out there stealing an election from us. That's what we were worried about. We were worried about trusting the plan, sealed indictments, all of these nonsensical things that have been published by alternative sources of information on the right. And now we sit here 10 days before the inauguration, and it was all BS. It was all a lie. It was all not true. Verifiably. Because none of it came true. None of it. And there's still people to this day, as I sit here and record this show right now, that are still posting this nonsense online. They still think that, oh, there's going to be some sort of coup and then Trump's going to take over. You're out of your mind. I'm not happy with the results. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into making sure that Donald Trump got 4 more years. I know some of you didn't. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in right now. All right, stick with us. A lot more to go. This is Against the Norm. My name is Nick Craig. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to the program. This is Against the Norm. My name is Nick Craig. You can visit our website. You should actually visit our website, atnshow.com, chatting about some of the events of the past couple of days. And, you know, I'm not going to make some people happy with this show. But I think we're at the point now where reality needs to be dealt with. And I don't fault people. Going back to what I was just talking about in the last segment about some of these online theories, Q would be the most popular one. People were forced to believe this stuff because the media, the real media, does such a poor job with everything that people were struggling to find out what was going on. They were struggling for information. We want information. We always do. We strive for information. As humans, that's what we do. We're always striving for information. And the media did such a poor job with informing us that it allowed things like QAnon and other things on the right to pop up that have all proven to be jokes. Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell, Steve Bannon, all of these people that for the last 2 months have been talking about how there's some plan in place and that Trump is going to serve another 4 years. These people have been exposed as fakes and frauds. I don't know if they're fraudulent or if they're mentally ill. In the case of Lynn Wood, I think this guy is medically insane. He's still going. Today. He's still going today. This guy's either verifiably insane or the biggest con man of our time. And I'm sorry, folks, but you've got to get a grip on reality here. Because the days of trusting a fake plan that doesn't exist, the days of trusting that Republicans are going to back up Donald Trump doesn't exist. The fact that people thought Mike Pence was actually going to do anything with the election on Wednesday, you're an idiot. I'm sorry, you're an idiot. I'm not trying to be harsh or rude, but folks, we need a slap in the face. We need a reality check on the right. And that's what I'm going to be giving you over the next, hour or so. We need a reality check. Mike Pence was never going to send the election results back to the states. He never was going to do it. He never was. Mike Pence is a Republican. He's an establishment Republican. Now, I'll give him credit for this. He's stuck with Trump for the last 4 years. And Donald Trump put him in a very tough situation on Wednesday. And I know everybody's saying Mike Pence is the biggest traitor of the century. That's fine. You can have your opinion. But throughout the last 4 years, Mike Pence stood loyally beside Donald Trump. He did. Should he have come through with the events on Wednesday? Yeah, he could have. But guess what? But guess what would have happened? Seriously. The results would have went back to the states. And do you really think Republicans in these states were gonna have the balls to change the results? I mean, remember here, this is a multifaceted thing. This is not just Donald Trump. So even if Mike Pence had used what I believe to be his constitutional right to send the results back to the state legislatures, you are now incumbent on Republicans in state legislatures to stand up for Trump. Do you really think that would have happened? The answer is no. We've seen it for the last 4 years. Nobody stands up for Trump. And us as Republicans, we made a grave miscalculation. And I think this is single-handedly the biggest issue that we have. We put Trump on the top, the strong guy on top, right? The leader. We put him on top, but we failed to give him any support. Yeah, it was like building a bridge without any supports. It's like building a roof without walls. You can't do it. How are you going to build a roof if you don't have walls? What are you going to attach your structure to? Nothing. It's going to fall right to the ground. That's exactly, in my opinion, what I've learned over the past couple of weeks as I've had some time off to dissect what's going on. We failed to give Donald Trump the support that he needed to accomplish his goals. And we expected that and I'm not coping for Trump. There are some terrible things that he did during his presidency. For example, signing this last $600 stimulus bill. What the hell was he thinking? Signed it and then said, "Oh, I don't agree with it." Well, then why did you sign it? There's no 40 chess there. There's no 8D chess. It's not part of the plan. Shouldn't have signed it. We lost the Senate anyway. Who cares? So now now the Federal Reserve just print out another $1 trillion for nothing. For nothing. To give the little peasant $600? The freaking country's been shut down since March. And you guys are jumping for joy over $600? You're being controlled. You are the problem. I get people are in tough situations. But the country's been shut down since March. $600 the first of the year isn't going to do you a damn thing. There's just so much here to unravel and deconstruct. And unfortunately, we'll have the next 4 years to unravel and deconstruct it, at least the next 2. But I think single-handedly the biggest issue and the thing that we need to learn as good, strong conservatives is that we failed to give our conservative president what he needed to get the job done. We put a bunch of phonies and frauds around him, and he got screwed. He got played. In some respects, he played himself. Look at all the people. Look at all the bad hires. But when everybody around you is a shyster, it's hard to find anybody you support. I mean, can you name even 5 or 6 people that are still standing with the president? Elected officials? I can't. Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell sure as hell aren't. Who else? Who's standing with Trump right now? It sure as hell isn't Tom Tillis. David Rouser is. That's great. We got at least one. But name some Republicans that are standing up with the president right now. You can't, because they don't exist. Because we surrounded Trump with a bunch of people that hate him. And then we went, oh man, I can't believe Trump's not getting anything done. Oh man, I can't believe that there's no investigations going on into election results. They don't like him. I've always said this, and I stand by the statement. For Republicans as in general, I think Republicans enjoy losing more than they do winning. Because when they lose, you can just throw your hands up and go, oh, we tried. We tried, it just didn't work out. Darn. But when you win, you've actually got to put your money where your mouth is. The rubber's got to meet the road. You've got to get something done. And the Republicans aren't good at doing that. And that's why you're going to see, hopefully, over the next 2 years, a complete and internal destruction of the GOP. A complete and total teardown and dismantlement of the Republican Party. Because it doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for me. It's blatantly clear, and it should be more obvious to you now than ever, that the GOP doesn't work for you. They don't work for me. They work for themselves. They're two sides of the same coin with the Democrats. It's the same damn thing. And it's proven itself it's been proving itself for 4 years. But it really proved itself earlier this year when these lockdowns started. Which, if I had to guess, if Trump could hop back in his time machine, he would not have gone on board with these lockdowns. Because he thought he could win some political muster with these lockdowns. He thought he could appease the left with these lockdowns. And he made the gravest mistake in the world. You can't appease the left. You give them an inch, they take a mile. It's the oldest trick in the book. And us stupid Republicans and stupid conservatives fell for it again with these lockdowns. We tried to play nice. We tried to do this. We tried to cross the aisle. And look at where we are now. We're going on to almost 12 months of government deciding who wins and loses. The government printing money at an exceptional rate and just giving it away to people. Billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Foreign countries like Pakistan and Afghanistan. For gender studies programs. We got played, ladies and gentlemen. We got played by our own party. And it's time to wake up and smell the coffee on it. There's no I know I'm being harsh. I know I'm being rash with my comments, but it needs to be said. It needs to be dealt with. It needs to be talked about. Because we'll never recover. If we sit here and think we did the right thing over the last 4 years, we'll never win an election again. Plain and simple. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Against the Norm with Nick Craig.
All right, welcome back to the program. This is Against the Norm. My name is Nick Craig. You can visit our website, atnshow.com. I highly recommend that you do so. That's atnshow.com. All right, well, here we are, about 25 till the top of the hour, and talking about all some of the insanity that we've heard about over the past 4 years. It's got to stop. I mean, I'm still literally seeing it as we speak. I'm seeing it on websites right now. People still saying, "Oh, everything is fine. Everything's fine. There's going to be a big thing. Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell." No, stop, please, for the love of Christ, stop. You got exposed. A lot of us, myself included, in some regards, we felt hook, line, and sinker for it. I'm sorry, but we've got to deal with the cards that we've been dealt. So what do we do going forward? Because, I mean, that's where we stand right now. If there was election fraud, which I think there was, but if it's not going to be proven, it might as well not exist. So what do we do going forward? Well, there's a lot of things. But it starts at a local level. When I talked about last segment, this idea that we sent Trump all the way to the top by himself, with no support around him. In my opinion, that was the biggest miscalculation that we all made. And the only way that changes is it starts locally and it progressively gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You need to elect strong conservatives locally. Then those strong local conservatives can move up to statewide offices. Then from a statewide office, those people can move into the House and the Senate and then maybe even the presidency. But that's where it has to start. We've got to get away from this mentality. And I'm not going to say that I'll never do this for the rest of my life because I'm 23 and I can't make that judgment. You will not catch me spite voting for a Republican anytime soon. If there's a Republican I don't support that's running for office, you will not catch me voting for them. Because that's why we dealt with what we dealt with the last 4 years. Because we spite voted for Republicans. And if you look at where we are right now, we're in a terrible place, a terrible situation. I mean, you can look, we'll talk about the huge tech censorship that's going on as we speak. Mass banning of conservatives across the internet, the largest that there's ever been. The social media website Parler will be shut down within 12 hours. Because their web host, Amazon Web Services, has deemed them to be unsafe and violent. So they'll be shutting down. But we allowed this to happen. It happened right under our noses. And one of the people I hold probably the most accountable for this is President Donald Trump. Because while his supporters, and I've been critical of Trump in the past, I'll be critical when I need to be. While his supporters were getting, I don't know how you'd say it. When his supporters were getting blacklisted and banned from social media over the past 4 years, frankly, he didn't really do anything. While his supporters were getting blacklisted and banned, he didn't do anything because it didn't affect him. Well, it's affecting him now, but it's too late because he's out of office in 10 days. We wanted to talk about repealing. Everybody says, well, the Republicans should have repealed Section 230 a couple weeks ago. They should have repealed Section 230 4 years ago. But we didn't. There was no call for it. I'm just as guilty of it as everybody else. We saw the deplatformings happening. We saw big tech. Trump even talked about it. He tweeted about it, but we never did anything. So we stand here right now, 10 days before Trump is out of office. For all intents and purposes, he's out of office right now. He can't do anything. We sit here 10 days before Trump's out of office, and we are watching coordinated big tech takedowns of conservatism and Republicans on the internet. And there's nothing that we can do. People say, well, what can we do? Nothing. At this point, nothing. You literally can't do anything. We had the option to do something over the last 4 years. We didn't. We didn't hold Trump accountable. We didn't hold our Republicans accountable. So now this is the hand you've been dealt. You don't have a choice. Now, I'm fortunate. I haven't been banned from social media yet, but I tell you what, I'm not, as of Friday, I deleted Twitter and Facebook from my phone. I'm not using those services anymore. But I should have done that 3 years ago. I'm stupid. I waited too long because it wasn't affecting me. Plain and simple. And I know some of you are in the exact same boat. It wasn't affecting me, so I was okay. Well, Alex Jones gets banned. Well, I'm not Alex Jones, so it's fine. I'm not Alex Jones, so I'm not getting deplatformed. Gab, I'm not Gab. I'm not getting deplatformed. Well, now you're getting deplatformed, and what is your ramification? Nothing. Nothing. We should have been doing this 3 years ago, and I understand. Monday morning quarterbacking, hindsight's 2020. I get all that. I'm not trying to sit here and say that I had all the answers. As I'm sitting here now, speaking to you, and as I, lay down on my bed at night and have some free time to just think about what's going on, I just can't get that out of my head. We were so complacent over the last 4 years. It was happening, and we talked about it. We talked about it on this program. People getting banned from social media, and we didn't do a damn thing. Parler. They knew this was going to happen, yet they had no contingency plans in place for when Amazon banned them. They're going to be down for at least a week, according to the CEO or the president of Parler. They're now banned from the Apple and Google Play Store. We knew that was going to happen. This happened with Gab. This happened years ago with Gab. I think they're in the best position right now out of all of us because they already went through all this crap. They went through it years ago. They're not on any app stores. They got kicked off their hosting provider. They got kicked off the payment processing services. They had to build all of it from the ground up, and they've done it. I'm not sure that Gab or Parler, I'm not sure what's going to be the, quote, alternative social media. I'm not even sure we need one. Social media has done nothing but destroy our society. And I'm the textbook example of what social media has done to our society. It misleads, it brainwashes, it's toxic, it's disgusting, it's terrible for us as humans. It's terrible. It sets an unrealistic expectation of reality. It's disgusting. But we're addicted to it. We love it. We can't get enough. It's a crack. You can't get enough of it. We love social media. We love seeing what other people are doing. We love seeing what they do. We love when they like our posts. Oh my God, we can't get enough of it. You post something and you get a whole bunch of likes. Oh my God. It's the highest of highs. We're addicted to this stuff. Maybe that's the silver lining in all of this. Maybe that is. Maybe the silver lining is that we need to disconnect from these platforms because they don't make us better individuals. They don't make us better people. They silo our information. They make us miserable in most of the situations. And then what do we have to show after it? Nothing, because your Facebook account's deleted. Congratulations. Good work. What do we have to show? Oh, great. You have Twitter followers? Great. But they're all gone because Twitter just shut down your account. Great. What do you have to show for it? Nothing. Maybe we need to get back to community, in-person community. Maybe we need to get off of social media. And this might be the perfect platform to do it. Shouldn't say the perfect platform, the perfect situation to do it. Now, I'm on both Gab and Parler. On Gab, I'm at Nick. Can't miss me. And on Parler, I'm at Nicholas M. Craig. On Parler. But these services are in the same boat. Unfortunately, Gab is less susceptible, but you saw what happened with Parler over the last 72 hours. They went from a service that was gaining tens of thousands of new users a day to being banned from both Google and Apple Play stores, which means their mobile apps are not able to be installed. They went from that to now their services are going to be shut down at the end of the day on Sunday because of Amazon. That just shows you how quick this is. This went from 0 to 100 in a level that nobody was prepared for. Nobody saw. Well, we did see that. We knew this was going to happen. We just didn't think it was going to happen to us. We didn't think it was going to happen right now. But it's happened. Ban every Trump supporter from social media, ban free speech, ban apps, ban platforms, shut everybody up. That's the plan. That's the solution. That's what the left's trying to do. And they're going to be successful at it because we don't have any recourse. We had recourse over the last 4 years. We sat on our asses and didn't do anything. And now here we are, January 10th, 2021, 10 days till Trump's out of office. And what's our recourse? What's our repercussions? The answer? We don't have any. Stick with us. All right, final segment of the program. You can visit our website, atnshow.com. That's atnshow.com, where you can download the podcast each and every week. You can also check out the video versions of the show, available on multiple platforms, just in case we get deleted. But I will say this. If you enjoy a podcast or a YouTube video or a YouTube creator, they probably have their own website. You need to bookmark that. Because this is not going to stop. Biden's not even in office yet, and they're already doing this. Now, let's not jump off the deep end here and say, "Oh my God, the next 4 years is going to be like an atomic winter." I don't think that's going to be the case. But the left's got the momentum right now. Big tech's got the momentum right now that if they want to shut this whole thing down, they can. I'm not sure they're going to. They might. They're pushing pretty hard, but I'm not sure they're going to. Because there are consequences for this. There are. Now, you've got your crazy deluged leftists that are praising this, right? They think it's great that free speech is being censored. That's fine. These people are mentally ill. They live in a parallel universe to ours, and they frankly have no real idea what the world is like. They're delusional. They're mentally ill. They've been brainwashed by the Democrats and the media. So those people are going to parade this and say this is fantastic. More power to them. You're not going to change their mind. But what about for regular people? What about for because there are truly people that are middle of the road. What impact does this have on them? I think it has a significant impact. There's such a thing as overextending your hand. And if you remember back to the first few years of the Obama administration in 2008, the Democrats did overextend their hand. And look at what the result was. The result was the Tea Party. The result ended up being Donald Trump, who I think will go down in the history books as the best president this country's ever had. The struggles that he dealt with, the wars that he was fighting from his people in his own party, from the Democrats, from the media. There's no way anybody could have gotten a tenth of what he got done. And he didn't begin to scratch the surface on all the things he wanted to get done. But it is what it is. I can't live in the past. I can't change it. I can't change it myself. People tried changing that on Wednesday. They tried showing up to do that. And I don't know what Trump's plan was when people started storming the Capitol, which was inevitable. When people feel that they've got no recourse left and nobody wants to listen to them, they lose their minds. They get crazy. And that's what you saw. People get crazy and make asses out of themselves and make asses out of you and me. But no, I'm not going to denounce that. I mean, I spent the entire week watching Republicans denounce what went on in Washington, D.C. I'm not denouncing anything. People were pissed. Trump hyped them up at this event. I'm not sure what his plan was. He said he was going to march down to the Capitol with them. He didn't. Not sure why he didn't, but he said he was going to. He didn't. And the result was the result. But I'll remind you that no property was damaged. Nothing was burned. Nothing was destroyed. For such a violent protest as they're calling it, an insurrection is what the media is calling it. Thank God it wasn't an insurrection. Because if people had really shown up and wanted to take control of the government, they would have been able to. Because the security sucked. The Secret Service and the Capitol Police did a terrible job. They let a bunch of old white people storm the Capitol. They didn't have weapons. Thank God they didn't. Who knows what would have happened? But now we got all these people denouncing what went on in Washington, D.C. You know, this is the result of what happened when people for 4 years are called the most awful, terrible things in the world. When you're called a Nazi and a racist and a homophobe and a this and a that for 4 years by the Democrats, by your friends, by your family, by the media, you get to a boiling point. And we saw that boiling point on Wednesday. Do I wish it happened? No. But I'm not going to sit here and denounce it. Who the hell am I to sit here and denounce it? People were fed up. People were pissed. They took actions into their own hands. People say, oh, this isn't America. I mean, obviously, you don't know jack diddly squat about American history. You think the American Revolution was fought peacefully? You think it was fought following the rules? No, it wasn't. The goal, let me be clear with this, the goal Wednesday was not to overturn the election results. For me, at least. The goal Wednesday, the 6th, was to show and prove to Republicans, elected Republicans and future Republicans, that we've got our eye on you. And when I say I mean the American people that support President Donald Trump. We've got our eye on you. We're done with the half-assed Republican politicians. We're done with the lip service. You will not catch me voting for Republicans anymore that don't support what I support. You won't catch it. I'm not doing it. I'm done. We're done. And if that means Democrats win elections, so be it. That's the attitude and that's the mentality I'm taking right now. Now, my opinion may change. We got midterm elections in 2 years. My opinion may change drastically. I don't know. But as it sits right now, I am disgusted as to what went on over the past couple of really weeks and months. Disgusted with the GOP. Disgusted with the Republican Party. There's no excuse for it. They took every example to kick down Trump when he was at his weakest. And when they're kicking Trump in the face, they're kicking you and I in the face. They've taken every opportunity, every possible way that they could. They've done it. And then they want to save face with us. And then they expected us to show up in Georgia and vote for 2 Republican senators. It wasn't going to happen. And it sure as hell didn't help that Mitch McConnell decided that he was going to not pass the $2,000 a check 4 days before the freaking runoff election. Terrible decision by Mitch McConnell. I'm glad he didn't pass it, but terrible decisions all through and through. I mean, the Republicans have made so many poor decisions over the past couple of weeks. It's almost undescribable. I can't even wrap my head around all the poor decisions that we've made. So what do we do? Because I've sat here and vented for the last hour. That doesn't help you, it doesn't help me. It's time for us to start learning from things that have gone on in the past. It's time to stop sitting and being lame ducks. We saw what was happening with conservatives being censored online over the last 4 years. We chose to do nothing. It's our fault. It really is. I'm pitting the blame on you and I. Because we didn't stop using Facebook. We didn't stop using Twitter. Yes, we signed up for Parler and Gab, but we didn't use them. Up until Friday, I was still posting on Twitter 24/7. I'm part of the problem. It's a hard lesson to learn now because it's not going to exist. But we have to learn the lesson. We have to make a change. So you've got to get off big tech. You've got to get off Facebook. You've got to get off Twitter. I know it's not fun. I know it's not easy, but you can't say you're outraged and you can't say you're pissed off about it and then still continue to post on Facebook like I'm seeing people do right now. They're still posting on Facebook. You're part of the problem. You've got to make a change. You've got to make a switch. You've got to do something. We didn't learn from Alex Jones. We didn't. We said we did, but we didn't. So while Alex Jones and Gab were building their own platforms, we were all sitting on Twitter and Facebook, Trump included. And now he's gone. He's got nowhere to go because he didn't embrace alternative tech. He didn't embrace Parler or Gab. He never made accounts. He just continued to tweet. But now his Twitter's permanently suspended. He ain't getting the account back. So now what? Parler's going to be deleted in the next 12 hours. Gab has got 10,000 users an hour registering. Their servers are getting absolutely bombarded. So it's time for us to actually learn from the past. No more lip service. No more thoughts and prayers. We've actually got to do it now. So get off Twitter, get off Facebook, get off big tech. It's a Band-Aid. It's going to hurt, but you've got to rip it off. We have no choice because there will be nothing left. There will be nothing left. So I'm still formulating my opinions. I know everybody else is. There's a lot going on. We'll continue with the show, atnshow.com in Southeastern North Carolina on the Big Talker 106.7 FM. Have a great week, everybody. Stay safe more than ever. We'll talk to you next time.